This is speed. This is winning. This is losing. This is smoke and fire. This is high stakes and wild cards. This is family and tradition. This is everything on the line. This is it. This is NASCAR in Las Vegas. The South Point 400, a NASCAR playoff race, October 10th through 12th. Get your tickets now. LVMS.com.
Football contest sign-up season is here, and you don't want to miss out on the action. With millions of dollars on the line each and every week in the world's biggest football contest, there's only one proxy to trust, footballcontest.com. Maddie and Tony have set the gold standard for football contest proxy services with 20 years of experience and over 13 million in winnings for their clients. All you have to do is get to Vegas between now and the start of football season to sign up in person, and they do the rest, making sure your picks are entered every week. Whether you want to play in the Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, Super Contest Gold, or the new Super Contest College Contest, Maddie and Tony have you covered. Their new website has everything you need to know about these football contests and more, including how you can reserve the best proxy in the business. Experience matters, so go with the pros at footballcontest.com, the gold standard proxy service.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book. Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
We don't make stuff up here.
I would only play the Pirates team total going under.
What the hell happened to Minnesota's pitching?
This total has really crashed without plumbing the lineup.
I think this number's too high, but they're laying me the 6.
Oh, I know.
Caitlin Clark drives handle on the WNBA.
Never mind all these Mickey Mouse other stations. We are giving you hands-on information.
It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles and Alex White.
Good morning. Welcome in. It is a Thursday. I was going to say it was Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday was yesterday. I'm Jeff Parles. She's Alex White.
Came and went pretty quickly, actually.
It's, you know what? We're so close to football. We can taste it. We're less than 10 days away from Battle in Dublin, Farmageddon with Iowa State and K-State. It's a shame. I usually wait all year, say Farmageddon in November. I got to get out of the way in August. But we're looking forward to that. But fun show today. Of course, Bet Bash going on. If you happen to see either of us out there yesterday, thank you for saying hello, Alex and someone named Kenny White. We're on a panel together. You ever heard of him?
I think you're missing the lead with Scotty Shetler, too.
Yes, Scotty, who is a legend.
That's right.
Behind the counter, of course. Great panel there, and was happy to be with Brett McMurphy yesterday. If you happen to be out there at Bet Bash, we'll be around the next 2 days. So say hello. And I know Chris Andrews is out there. So Vinny's got a panel. It's Vinny and all of his friends later today. On the bookmaker panel.
An hour. I'm very sad that we will not make it by that time.
That will be a lot of fun, to say the very least. All right, we got to get to it because there's a 10:05 Pacific, 1:05 Eastern baseball game, and we'll get into it right now. We go to Baltimore, where the Seattle Mariners win streak was snapped last night. The Orioles got it done on a walk-off, 4-3. Jackson Holiday getting it done to bring in the winner for Baltimore. So Seattle, after catching the Astros, are now one game behind the Astros after Houston took the game off Boston last night. Sugano against Evans, so the weakest of the Seattle starters going this afternoon. Minus 130 on Seattle, plus 15 on Baltimore, and a 9.5 at Camden Yards.
Pretty crazy seeing a 9.5, right? Because, Mariners were pretty fortunate 1-0. That's all it took in game one. And a low-scoring game yesterday. Baltimore 4-3 in that one. So Mariners kind of cooling off a little bit where those bats were really hot. I think they can get to Sagano here today. So I don't really want to touch the total. Lean towards the Mariners. Nothing big, though, in this one. I'm going to stay off between these two.
So there are the AL standings. It's only one race within 4 right now, and that is the AL West with Houston 1 game clear of Seattle. Detroit 6.5 ahead of Cleveland. What's with the Tigers just winning games by 1 run, Alex? That's just not cool. It's not cool this week against the White Sox, but still 6.5 clear against Cleveland, who got bombarded by the Marlins last night. And then Toronto, who actually lost the game to Chicago, the Cubs, yesterday, but Boston could not take advantage, 4.5. And more importantly, I only have a flag. I wish I had a cowbell or something like that. With the Twins actually beating the Yankees yesterday. So now the Twins are now only 80 games under 500 against the Yankees since 2002.
Just try Joe Ryan out there every time. That was the secret, I guess.
I think the Yankee fans who have been dismayed now for the better portion of 2 months, it might have been more dismayed last night than they were even during that Marlins
That's
debacle.
impressive.
Hey, look, you can't lose to the Twins. I'm sorry. They're your AL wildcard standings. Cleveland a game behind the Yankees. Yankees a game and a half behind Boston for the 5 seed, and then Seattle a game and a half ahead of Boston for the top wild card. I know Cleveland's only a game out. It still feels like those 6 are going to be there in some fashion once the American League playoffs come through.
Not so fast. I was looking at the Rangers. It gets easier throughout this month. I know.
Bad stretch right now.
A little. Hey, we expected it. I knew that they did have a tough schedule, but I was talking to Chris Andrews yesterday, and he said Gil actually had the Rangers to have the most wins in August, and that made me relook at their August. They do have the Athletics and the Angels coming up here. There's an important one,
well,
right? It is the Guardians.
Well, they go to Toronto this upcoming weekend, and then Cleveland comes a calling after that. So, yeah, 61-61. Kansas City still technically alive. The Angels, by the way, congratulations to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim of California, who swept all 6 games from the Dodgers, and the Dodgers are out of first place, which we'll get to in a little bit. But and the fashion that the Angels did it the last 2 days, too, just unbelievable. Coming from behind each of the last 2 days to complete the second sweep of the Dodgers this year.
Was that the quickest
triple play 2 days ago?
Triple play?
We have to check because Eric Bruntlett pulled an unassisted triple play. I want to say that was probably 14, 13 years ago now, where legitimately it was a line drive right to the bag with both runners going. Caught it, stepped on the bag, tagged the runner from first, but that was pretty darn quick for a non-unassisted.
There you go.
That's about as quick as you can do the 1 2 nights ago. And what's up with Ohtani? What's wrong with him? How dare you hit into a triple play? Even though what should have been the game-winning homer. Of course, it ended up not being it 2 nights ago. All right, let's go. Well, we'll shift back to the AL in a little bit. Let's go back to the NL games, and we'll start in Washington, where the Nats just continue to slump now, 24 games under at 48-72. Phillies catch a little bit of a break yesterday. They get shut out in Cincinnati. Hunter Green looked quite good in his return, and a big series win for the Reds, taking 2 out of 3 from Philadelphia. Mets blow a 6-0 lead in really spectacular fashion yesterday, losing to the Braves. We'll get to the Mets in a little bit. But the Phillies still 5 games clear in New York in the NL East. They also are in the second slot still in the National League by a half game over San Diego, who's now in first place out west. We'll get to that in a second, even though neither of those teams are in action. But the Phillies with Luzardo are minus 190 against Brad Lord tonight, plus 170 on the Nats, total 8.5. I actually think there's a reasonable price on the Phillies going to, again, a nice step down in competition with seeing, again, if it wasn't for Colorado, would be the worst in the National League.
I do too. I mean, I think they should be probably bigger than $2 here, but I'm not going to lay it. I really have nothing in this one. I think all the numbers are just right, though I do think that there's a pitching advantage with Luzardo over Brad Lord. But yeah, nothing really jumped out to me. I'm kind of hesitant. The last 2 days against Cincinnati, the Phillies really were struggling at the plate. So I'm going to wait it out. Maybe this is what they need, like you're saying, kind of going up against lesser competition here with the Nationals, but I'm not going to jump in this first game.
Let's go to New York next. The Mets and the Braves, rubber match. Been a lot of runs in this series. Been a lot of bad pitching between the two teams. The longest start so far in this series, Alex White. The longest start through the first 2 games of this series belongs to Spencer Strider, who went a hearty 4 innings and gave up 8 earned runs on Tuesday. Neither Mets starters made it into the 5th. Actually, you know what? I'm wrong. I for the longest outing total. I guess I said starter. The longest outing total in this series was Paul Blackburn out of the bullpen yesterday through 5 innings for the Mets. The Met pitching has been an abomination the last 4 days. They've now blown leads of 4 and 6 and 5 and 6 over the last 3 days. Oh, also they blew a 5-run lead in the game they won on Tuesday. So their pitching has been an abomination, and their lead's down to 1 in the wild card over Cincinnati, 2 in the loss column entering today. Alex, it's Senga against Elder. Elder's been awful for the Braves the whole season. Senga's really struggled since coming back off the IL. Until further notice, until the Mets pitchers prove they can go further than 4 innings, I'm going over because the Mets are hitting. The Mets have the highest hard hit rate and OPS against right-handed pitching over the last 10 days. And Elder stinks. And Senga can't go length. I like over 8.5 in this one.
I do too. I was actually just looking at the Mets 4.5 because, as you mentioned, with Bryce Elder really struggling as of late, just gave up 5 earned runs on 7 hits to the Marlins. So I definitely think the Mets will be able to get to him. But I'm leaning more towards your side now. I think full game over 8.5 is probably the way to play this. I do have faith in Senga, though. I do think he will get back to form. And I liked his last outing, but you're right, 4 1/3. So that doesn't give me a whole lot of faith there. So over.
Yeah, this is it. Look, there's no point of betting the Mets side right now. And again, it has gotten real bleak for the Mets, who are in complete control of the NL East. And again, these topsy-turvy divisions where, Alex, every division has seen at least an 8.5 game swing over the last, over the last 2 months.
Right.
Every division in baseball, all 6 of them, even Detroit, who still is in command in the AL Central, was up as much as 17. In the NL, I mean, the Mets are up 5.5 mid-June. Now they're down 5. The Brewers, who, by the way, congratulations to everyone in Milwaukee. You got free burgers. And now for my Met fandom, I need them to beat the Reds. You know what's coming. The Reds are winning 2 out of 3 off the Brewers, who can't seem to lose right now. 7.5 up on the Cubs. And then the most shocking, look, I thought the Met-Philly race would go back and forth multiple times. It still could. They play each other 7 times. The Brewer one is stunning, but when a team goes on a 27-4 stretch, it's pretty hard to compete with that. That's what Milwaukee's on right now in the last 31 games. It's hard to compete with that, and Cubs haven't played well, but this is more just a team playing at such an insane clip that, again, probably not sustainable for a whole season, but Milwaukee has at least, I think at this point, given themselves a lead, assuming they don't get swept at Wrigley in the 5er next week, that race is probably done. But, Alex, and I'll say it because the Padres and Dodgers are both out of action to begin a humongous 3-game series tomorrow.
Yep.
I know I love the Padres deadline, but how quickly this has turned, and we've talked about the Dodgers for really a few months now. They haven't been the same other than that 1 month where they were the best team in baseball. This is, if they don't take the series off San Diego this weekend and San Diego extends the lead, this is serious for the Dodgers, who are in the 5 slot right now. Forget not leading the division. They don't even have home field in the wild card round as the moment because the Cubs are ahead of them.
Yeah, but I mean, they've kind of been treading water all year long. So for a team in their division to make such an impactful trade deadline and get acquisitions, I'm not that surprised. I could see it coming, really, but don't count them out. I mean, there's so much talent, and we talk about this all the time. I mean, I think they'll be able to piece some wins together and stick around at least in a wild card spot. But you're right, it is pretty crazy that they don't even have home field right now.
Good news for the Dodgers. They have 7 games left with the Colorado Rockies. Bad news for the Dodgers is the Padres have 6 games left with the Colorado Rockies, who we'll get to right now. The Rockies and the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks have actually caught the Giants, which I think has more to do with the Giants' ineptitude more so than anything. 59-62 for Arizona. Rockies 32-88. Alex, they only have to win 8 more times to get to 40. So that would push them over the win total that was put out at the All-Star break. They can find 8 wins in the next 6 weeks, which I actually think they'll be able to do. They took really for the Cardinals, like, what the hell are you doing? You're really going to blow a series at home against the Rockies when you are given a little bit of a window here because the Mets are playing so poorly? And instead of being 2 back like they should have been, they're 4 back St. Louis. But Colorado still in the mix to be the worst team of all time. Rodriguez and Blaylock, minus 165 on Arizona, plus 150 on Colorado. Oh, we finally see a 12.5 at Coors Field, Alex White. And you know what? I've been waiting for it, and that total is right where it should be. But if you're betting the under, you might need some steel in your fortitude here, because I would not look to play under with these 2 guys on the mound tonight.
I wouldn't either. This feels like a PCL AAA game. I think we're going to see a lot of runs. One of these teams probably, being in double digits here tonight. Eduardo Rodriguez, he just saw this team in Arizona and he got hit up. I mean, he had 6 hits, 5 earned runs, and 5 1/3. Now they're in Coors Field. So I do think that both teams are going to be able to score. The Diamondbacks, take some pieces out of their lineup, and it took them a little bit of time, but now they're really hitting the ball. And I think they're one of the best on the board today. Yep, they're right behind the Mets, as you mentioned, but batting .291 as a team and 148 WRC plus, 356 on base percentage. So I like the way that their lineup looks, and I think we're going to get runs from both sides. It would only be an over for me. And I do think that Rodriguez is the better pitcher of the 2. Blaylock has just been brutal at home. He's been okay on the road, but at home he has a 11.76 ERA. So it's going to be a rough one for him. Diamondback side, I'm okay going over 12.5.
Yeah, it's 87 degrees with the wind blowing out tonight. So those are some damn good hitting conditions in what is the best hitter's park in baseball still. So it would only be an over for me tonight, Alex. And actually, I do think that's kind of a cheapy price on Arizona run line, but I almost never play sides in Colorado just because of the volatility of what that ballpark provides, even with the Rockies being this pathetic mess here in 2025. All right, let's go to Minneapolis next. Hey, congratulations, Minnesota Twins. You finally beat the Yankees. You did it. Only 80 games under 500 against the Yankees in the last 23 seasons. And they still have 3 more to come against the Yankees, by the way. So your reward for that? Hello, Tariq Skubal on the bump for Detroit, who's 6.5 games clear of the Guardians entering today's action. Skubal, Alex, I think this is too big of a price on Skubal tonight, because this is not a complete mismatch with the starters. Obviously, Skubal's the best pitcher on the planet, but Ober's not a pushover. And plus 180, yeah, I know you're dealing with basically the St. Paul Saints minor league bullpen still, but I would be looking at Minnesota here at plus 180 as a potential shot in the dark here. I don't love taking the first 5 price because you're going against Skubal, even though that's plus 180 as well, but I take a little bit of a small piece of Minnesota if I'm looking to play this game.
It's pretty crazy because we saw Skubal have a couple bad starts, really just one. And for his standards, he only went 4 2/3 against the Angels, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, just 6 strikeouts and 2 walks. So I don't know if it's fatigue or what, because he has been going the entire season. But before that, we saw the Phillies get to him a little bit as well. Zach Wheeler did not jump on the opportunity. He had a bad start, and then Christopher Sanchez as well. So this Cy Young race is getting very interesting, and he's still the favorite for a good reason. I think he has a bounce back spot here. So I don't want to lay the $2. Like you said, Tigers have not been scoring. Winning by just 1 run. I just think this is an overplay. I was going to look at the Twins team total. Did I say over? An underplay. I was going to look at the Twins themselves, but 2.5. I can't do that. So 7.5. I'm okay going under with this full game. Like you said, Bailey Ober is not a pushover, and I think both pitchers will pitch okay here today.
Yeah, this is, it might not be, I wish it was a 4 in the first 5 instead of a 3.5. That would probably be the look if it was a solid 4, but Skubal, probably 1 run max, and I'm with you on Skubal at least being due. But this is just a price look more so than anything on Ober, who, again, clearly worse, but this is not as big of a mismatch as that price indicates here on the mound today.
To start the season, I was not scared of 3.5s at all, but, as the season's gone on with weather and hitters catching up to the pitchers. So.
Been progressively worse in the month of August, which makes sense. Gets hotter, of course, across the country. All right, let's go to Toronto next. Rubber match north of the border, Jays and Cubbies. Scherzer and Boyd. Of course, Matthew Boyd has been tremendous this year for the Cubs. And he's a small favorite here, minus 110 at the South Point, total of 8. Cubs, again, feel bad for Amaya, who comes off the 60-day IL and then suffers just a horrible-looking injury last night. So another depth piece for that Cubs lineup, going to be out for an extended period of time. Alex, I feel like this is cheap on Boyd, but I don't love going against Toronto at home against anyone here.
It's cheap on Boyd. I think that this should be closer to minus 150. I'm probably not going to play it. I don't know what it is with the Cubs these days, too. So I'm just going to lay off of it. But I definitely think that is the right side. And Scherzer, I mean, he's been a little better as of late. I mean, his last 3 starts, he hasn't given up more than 3 earned runs. But I think the Cubs offense can get to him better against righties. So I like that going as well. And Toronto, they've been hanging in there, but they haven't been as dominant as they were when they went on that winning streak. So nothing for me, but I definitely think Cubs is the right side. I'm curious, do we have Rookie of the Year? Because, I mean, you were talking about Boyd being awesome for the Cubs. That reminded me of Cade Horton, who has been fantastic. And I think he's kind of moving up in the NL Rookie of the Year.
I brought this up the other day. I think that should be the NL Rookie of the Year should be Isaac Collins's. With just, again, he's been a big piece to this magical Brewers run.
Definitely.
And with Mizorowski now out, I feel like that should be Collins's. By the way, AL Rookie of the Year race is completely done. Kurtz has just run away and hid. You see Drake Baldwin, the Braves catcher, is the small favorite right now, but I think it should be Collins, even though I will say Agustin Ramirez has had a really good season for Miami and has just kind of been forgotten because it's the Marlins.
Correct.
But I think Collins at even money should be the betting favorite, even though he is currently not in Milwaukee. All right, one last one.
There you go. There's your AL.
How many zeros is that? It's minus 10,000. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Remember when Jacob Wilson was almost a $5 favorite? Now, he obviously got hurt, but still, Kurt's well on his way to winning Rookie of the Year with the homeless Athletics. All right, let's go to the Cleveland Guardians and the Miami Marlins to wrap up the MLB card here today. 7.5 with Cabrera and Bybee. Rubber match in Rock City. Minus 120 on Bybee, total 7.5 at Progressive.
Man, I just got to go with the Marlins here. After putting up 13 yesterday, I think this is a good price, getting that plus 105. Pretty even matchup. I think Edward Cabrera is actually slightly better. I mean, looking at the median numbers and comparing those, they're both going 5 2/3. Cabrera, just 1 or 2 earned runs, and Tanner Bybee on the other side, 5 hits and 2 walks for him. So, yeah, I like the Marlins side. Maybe first 5, if we're still getting a plus price, is the better way to go.
Yeah, you're not. It's minus 10, minus 05.
So, either way there. But I think that plus price, this Marlins team, they're still playing competitive. So, I like them. Here.
Still technically in the mix somewhat. They're in the Giant and Diamondback range, which, again, realistically speaking. But for the Marlins, it's been a nice little run where it might be a little bit closer to competing than we thought. And obviously, probably not going to come here in 25, but maybe next year, especially if the Braves don't have a bounce back. But you would expect Atlanta to bounce back after what has been a nightmarish 2025. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, Guest-a-Palooza begins here on the show. We check in with Ed Fang, who's one of the smartest guys here in the business. The Power Rank, we'll talk some NFL season-long things with Ed, and also our friend Vegas Matty will join the show after Ed right here on Sports by the Book, live from the South Point studio here in Las Vegas.
This is speed. This is winning. This is losing. This is NASCAR in Las Vegas, the South Point 400, a NASCAR playoff race, October 10th through 12th. Get your tickets now.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book. Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
We don't make stuff up here.
I would only play the Pirates team total going under.
What the hell happened to Minnesota's pitching?
This total has really crashed without plumbing the lineup.
I think this number's too high, but they're laying me the 6.
Oh, I know.
Caitlin Clark drives handle on the WNBA.
Never mind all these Mickey Mouse other stations. We are giving you hands-on information.
Welcome back in at Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. She's Alex White. I'm Jeff Parles. And now joining us, it's our good friend Ed Feng, the power rank on the tweets. If you're out of Bet Bash, you see Ed around. He's one of the best guys out there to talk to, one of the smartest guys when it comes to talking sports betting. Ed, it's a pleasure to have you on. It's great. We're 3 weeks away from kickoff in Philadelphia. Week 0 in Dublin is less than 10 days away. It's the best time of the year right now.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. Jeff, Alex, thank you so much for having me on. Alex, it was so nice to meet you in person yesterday, and really looking forward to talking football. You know, it's like crunch time in my business, and I'm ready to roll.
Ed, I want to start with the Pittsburgh Steelers. By the way, our Pittsburgh Steeler preview is live on the YouTube page if you want to check it out after the show, of course, here today. But, this is one of those. Mike Tomlin, we know the deal. Mike Tomlin has never had an under 500 season, which we have to just throw out there because it's required by law that we say it. The Steelers are 8.5 on the win total. So right on the 500 plateau. Of course, Aaron Rodgers comes in. They finally pay TJ Watt. They bring in DK Metcalf. What are your thoughts on the Steelers, which, again, a playoff team that was a surprise playoff team despite a totally different look a year ago?
If Mike Tomlin had not in the past always had a winning record, or there were another coach for the Steelers, like what would we think of this team, right? You're bringing in an Aaron Rodgers that is completely washed, in my opinion. Maybe he finds a fountain of youth, comes back, has a great season. I really don't see it, right? I mean, you have DK Metcalf, who's a good weapon. Like, I do not see anything being that solid on that side of the ball. I think they made a lot of great free agency signings on the defensive side of the ball, guys like Darius Slay and Jalen Ramsey and Juan Thornhill. And these guys are great players. They've had great numbers over the last 3 years. And if they were all 5 years younger, you would be ecstatic about these types of moves. But they're not 5 years younger. Slay's 34 years old. I think Ramsey's 29, 30. Can they still have good seasons? Sure. But I think I'm worried. I'm definitely worried about that in a little bit. And then just the last argument that I will make against the Steelers. So record in 1-score games. It is something that, the numbers, if you look at it on the team level, numbers people like me will say, well, look, you're going to regress to 500, right? Like one play can kind of flip a 1-score game, and you shouldn't be able to, necessarily have such a great record in 1-score games in the long run. And I've kind of appended this analysis a little bit because I started looking at quarterbacks over a pretty long time stretch and what quarterback records were in 1-score games. And when you do this analysis, you kind of see that there's some signal in a quarterback's record in one-score games. And the reason I say that is because you have good quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady at the top of the list, right? These guys, Brady, I think, for example, won 2/3 of his one-score games for his career. And I would argue there's a little bit of signal there. And Ben Roethlisberger was a really great quarterback for the Steelers team. And he, he's probably going to be a future Hall of Famer, and he won 63% of his one-score games for his career. He retires in 2021. Since then, Pittsburgh has actually gotten better in one-score games. They've won 2/3 of their one-score games in the 3 seasons since then. I think that, maybe there's a little bit of Mike Tomlin in there, but I doubt it. They've had some pretty good fortune in keeping this, non-losing seasons for Tomlin over the last couple of years. I think they've had some pretty good fortune there. I don't see it continuing. I've talked to a bunch of people here. I honestly think the bottom can fall out for this team this year. You get a couple injuries that the key guys like Watt and Hayward's not even in camp right now. So you do have, I think, the best defensive line in football, but I think there's potentially a low floor for this team.
Before I get to my other questions about teams in this division, I have to hit on this one. Curious about Aaron Rodgers in his prime when he was at Green Bay in one-score games. Yeah. And then what about last year with the Jets? Was that? Oh,
last year was a trend. I can even beat that to the punch on that. The Jets were the worst team in the NFL in one-score games last year. That I do. Or if they weren't worse, they were in the bottom 2. They were horrible in one-score games last year.
Yeah, they were bad. I think the offense wasn't good. The defense was good for a while, and the numbers really like the Jets for a while. I can't find it on my computer right now. I think he was like 55% in one-score games. So, solid. And there's still a big random component there, right? I think Patrick Mahomes is in excess of 70% in winning one-score games. I don't think he's going to be that good moving forward, but
right.
At the end of the day, I'd probably rather have him as the quarterback of my team in a one-score game than anyone else in football right now.
Right. So really just worried about Aaron Rodgers' age and what we have seen from him as of late, which I can totally understand. Sure. I want to dive into that division more and start off with the team that is projected to be the best with the Baltimore Ravens. I always hear people making the case for the Bengals and the Bills and other teams and say, as long as they have Joe Burrow, as long as they have Josh Allen. I never really hear that with Lamar Jackson, and I don't really get it. Is there a flaw in his skill set? What are your numbers telling you that I don't see? Or is he really just really good and there's kind of just, I don't know, just maybe because he runs so much and people are worried about injuries?
Right. I think Lamar Jackson is great. I remind you of a time where we thought this guy could not throw the football. And smarter analysts than me were like, well, as a rookie, he was pretty good throwing the football. And I feel like he's just gotten better and better at it. The main way I kind of look at how proficient you are is, passing success rate. So how well can you move the football down the field on a play-by-play basis? And, I track individual quarterbacks and then I adjust for the defenses that you've played. And so the NFL average for passing success rate is 43.3. Lamar Jackson last season was 47.8%. So significantly above average, like cracking top 5 in the league last year. Just to give you an idea, like Goff was at the top. Baker Mayfield was second, which he's never done in his career before. So it'll be interesting to see if he can repeat that with an aging receiver core. I love Lamar Jackson's game. I don't understand why he doesn't get more credit as a top 5 quarterback in this league. And, when I do my prep for the season, Baltimore is just one of those teams is like, okay, well, they're going to be good. They have Lamar. They are, I think they're one of the better teams in the league and just having talent all over the field. And you read through them, you expect 11.5 wins, and then you can move on to the next team.
Let's shift over to another quarterback, and that's Kyler Murray, who you see on your screen right now, 50-1 here at the South Point to lead the NFL in most passing yards. You know what? We've seen this in the past with Murray, Ed, where hot starts and then the league gets more tape and Murray tapers off as the year goes along. We saw, again, we thought it might have been Kingsbury, but now we saw it again happen a year ago where Arizona had a legitimate shot to win the NFC West and ends up under 500. What is your outlook for Murray this year?
Yeah, so I think Kyler Murray is interesting. I think there's two aspects for the Cardinals for me. Like, obviously I think as a team they might be pretty good with the talent that they brought in on the defensive side of the ball. But for Kyler Murray, I think he's a pretty good quarterback, but I'm concerned about interceptions for this team. So when so I've done a lot of work on this, and if you would have asked me a decade ago to predict interceptions, I would tell you, oh no, it's really random. There's not much signal from year to year, and it's really hard to do that for a quarterback, if not impossible. I've since dug into the research more, and it's true that you can't just take interception rate from previous years to try to predict what's going to happen this year. You actually want to look at all the times that a quarterback puts the football in a dangerous situation. Interceptions is clearly one of those situations, but the play-by-play also tracks passes defended. So these are plays in which the defense gets a hand on the ball or jars the ball loose with a hit. And so the sum of interceptions and passes defended is bad balls for me. And basically, quarterbacks control whether they put the football in a dangerous situation. So there's a lot of signal there, and more than I would have ever expected for NFL quarterbacks. It's very predictive. Once the quarterback puts the football in a dangerous situation, he has almost no control of whether it turns into an interception, right? So you can just imagine when a defender gets a hand on the ball pops up in the air. Once that happens, that can become a pick. It can be an incompletion, and the quarterback doesn't have much control. So Kyler Murray, over the last 3 years, has had a lot of good luck. He's worse than NFL average at putting the ball in dangerous positions, but he's actually been better than average, a 1.9% interception rate compared to the NFL average of about 2.3. And that's over the last 3 seasons. It's a pretty big sample, about 1,200 pass attempts. I don't think that continues. It's been interesting for me to look at things like this because some quarterbacks get lucky in some sense over even a 3-year stretch. Kyler Murray is an example of that. Some quarterbacks get unlucky. Matthew Stafford is a good example of that. He's a quarterback that has been excellent at not putting the football in dangerous situations, but a lot of those over a pretty big stretch ended up as picks. There's no signal in that at all. So one bet that I really like is Kyler Murray to lead the NFL in interceptions. I'm not sure if you guys have that market there. It's definitely on some of the apps, but I think Kyler Murray should be priced about 15-1 to lead the NFL in interceptions, and you can grab 30-1 at places. I think there's a lot of value there to sprinkle a little bit on that future.
I like that a lot. I want to ask you about one more quarterback going into his second year because I'm pretty bullish on the Denver Broncos. Kind of like you were saying about the Cardinals. I like the team all around the quarterback. I am just a little bit worried about Bo Nix going into his second year. Any data for me, good or bad, on what you think and how you think Bo Nix will do this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to think of Bo Nix as very promising. When I look at the numbers for the season, he was just a tick below NFL average in terms of my adjusted passing success rate. So 41.8%. He's kind of right there with Drake May, who and Bo Nix probably had more weapons. So, I think you have to be kind of optimistic about Nix just because, if I redid the analysis for the second half of the season, I think it would be a lot better. So I think there is promise there. Let's see. In terms of keeping the football in bad situations, yeah. So he was actually better than NFL average in terms of keeping the football out of dangerous situations. So when you project, he threw interceptions on 2% of his pass attempts last year. That's probably reasonable to happen again. Let me see real quick what my projection is. Yeah, so I project him to have an interception rate of 2.1%.
Okay.
And he had 2% last year. So I do think there's promise there.
Okay, very good.
Last one on the NFL, and then we got a college guy for you. Because last year you came on with us and you told us how Josh Allen was going to regress to the mean on the interceptions. And Josh Allen had the best year of his career protecting the football, wins the MVP. Yep. Buffalo won yet again, just can't beat Kansas City in the postseason, as we know. Just what's your outlook for Allen and Ed? Alex and I are going to be recording our Buffalo preview tomorrow. At least the early outlook for both of us is, boy, that schedule, if they can beat Baltimore week 1, it might be a while before the Bills lose a game here in 2025.
Yeah. So Allen, kind of went the opposite way. In some sense, my prediction was wrong. I thought he would be close to NFL average in terms of interceptions, and he was like at 1%.
Yeah.
Last season, which is obviously incredible, and honestly a huge reason why that team had so much success. They led the NFL by far in turnover margin, something that's really going to be hard to sustain. So Josh Allen should be close to NFL average. He's a great quarterback. There's really no doubt about that. I'm actually a little bit worried about this team because Allen's great, but I don't like the receiver room at all. I think Khalil Shakir is a fine player, but is he a number one on a really good passing offense? I'm not really sure about that. And then, I'm not sure about the defense either. I think they kind of feasted on turnovers last year. I don't know if that's really sustainable. I think you have a lot of solid players. Christian Benford is a great piece. But I will just say about the Bills, just make sure Allen stays upright and doesn't get hurt.
Win total up to 12 here on the South Point on Buffalo. That is the highest in the National Football League entering the season now. 12. Minus 7.
Yeah, minus 130 on the under.
That is minus 30 on the under 12. Yeah. So again,
I think I need to make a trip, and I need to make a trip, and I like Buffalo under 12. I think you guys might be seeing me before I head out of town.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to that. Again, now they were not the highest win total when we started the previews because that was Philadelphia. Now the Bills have surpassed both them and Kansas City on the list. All right, let's move over to college football. One last quarterback at the college ranks. So, well, actually we have two because I know we have a big transfer that we got to hit too. But there's been a lot of yapping in Nashville for a team that's projected to go underwater. And look, that's just what Diego Pavia is. He's a big talker. He's a hell of a lot of fun. And look, he made at the bare minimum, he made Vanderbilt interesting last year. At a bare minimum, and he'll make them interesting again here in 2025. And as always, loaded as Southeastern Conference. Ed, what's the outlook here for Pavia here in year 2 in Nashville?
Yeah, I don't think it's very good. I want to root for this kid, right? He's an undersized quarterback that was like an elite wrestler in high school and wasn't recruited at all. And now he's made it to the SEC. Obviously had that huge win over Alabama last season. Has really made a name for himself. But I'm worried about the interceptions. This is the first year I've actually done the bad ball predictions for college football. And Pavia was like the first name to show up on the list. And in some sense, the analysis is pretty easy because he had a 1% interception rate last season. And like I said, even Josh Allen can't sustain that type of excellence. Even Tom Brady, who is the best of all time, not just overall, but in terms of protecting the football, can't sustain a 1% interception rate. But when you look at the rate at which he put the football in dangerous situations, it was pretty high. And so I think they're going to have a problem with turnovers. That's what the data says. And then, this kid is talking about national championship or bust, and he doesn't realize they're slated for 4.5 wins, right? Maybe it's going up to 5.5. They're not expected to make a bowl. So I find it pretty humorous. We'll see how they do this season.
I'll just ask you quickly, because we'll let you get out of here. But I'm curious with Miller Moss, who was at USC waiting behind Caleb Williams. I guess it didn't really work out with Lincoln Riley's system. They bring in Jaden Maivia from UNLV. Miller Moss now goes to Louisville. How do you think those two are pretty even? How do you think Miller Moss translates over to Louisville? And was there anything that I missed and kind of why they shipped him out of USC?
Yeah, for sure. So, let's. I have a little bit of data on this. I haven't had a chance to really watch those guys play. I know USC did come into Michigan, had a tough game against a pretty good defense, and ended up losing with Miller Moss. So, Alex, I appreciate a chance to highlight some new stuff that I've done at the Power Rank this offseason. In the NFL, I talked about how I take quarterbacks, their performance, adjust for the defense that you played, and just and you can see how well they do in terms of passing success rate. I've actually done that for college as well, and this is why I think it's pretty interesting in college, right? So you just look at the raw data. Miller Moss had more pass attempts, and he had a raw passing success rate of 46.5%, significantly higher than the college football average, which I believe is around 40, and higher than Jaden Maeva, right? So he's at 44.3%. But when you do the adjustments for schedule, like Maeva goes way up, all the way up to 49.5. So, and Miller Moss is basically near his raw average. So in the raw numbers, Maeva is worse. In the adjusted numbers, Maeva is better. And so what that says is like, okay, I think that's interesting because it says like, well, Maeva probably played some good defenses and did pretty well. And if his stats weren't as good, that's because he was playing better defenses. I haven't had a chance to actually go through and see which teams he played, but that's what the numbers say.
Wow, that's really interesting. I appreciate you going through that.
Again, Louisville looked at as about team 3 or 4 in the ACC, depending on what you think, behind Miami and Clemson, who have, without a shadow of a doubt, looked at the number 1 and number 2, respectively, in the ACC going into the year. He's Ed Fang. You get his work, thepowerrank.com. Unbelievably good information across the board on NFL and now college as well. If you're out at Bet Bash, you'll see Ed around this week as well. Ed, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for hanging out with us this morning.
Guys, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Ed Fang, everyone. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back.
He's doing a full hour today.
Full hour today.
If you're at Bet Bash.
Over at Bet Bash in the middle of the afternoon. Of course, our guy Vegas Matty in studio joins us next. We'll give an update of everything that's going on contest-wise here in the city. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
Football contest sign-up season is here, and you don't want to miss out on the action. With millions of dollars on the line each and every week in the world's biggest football contest, there's only one proxy to trust, footballcontest.com. Maddie and Tony have set the gold standard for football contest proxy services with 20 years of experience and over $13 million in winnings for their clients. All you have to do is get to Vegas between now and the start of football season to sign up in person, and they do the rest, making sure your picks are entered every week. Whether you want to play in the Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, Super Contest Gold, or the new Super Contest College Contest, Maddie and Tony have you covered. Their new website has everything you need to know about these football contests and more, including how you can reserve the best proxy in the business. Experience matters, so go with the pros at footballcontest.com, the gold standard proxy service.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book. Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
We don't make stuff up here.
I would only play the Pirates team total going under.
What the hell happened to Minnesota's pitching?
This total has really crashed without plumbing the lineup.
I think this number's too high, but they're laying me the 6.
Oh, I know.
Caitlin Clark drives handle on the WNBA.
Never mind all these Mickey Mouse other stations. We are giving you hands-on information.
Back in at Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. I'm Jeff Parles. She's Alex White. Big thanks to Ed Fang for hanging out with us here today. As always, love catching up with Ed before the season here, as always. But now we bring him in studio. It's our guy Vegas Matty, footballcontest.com. Best proxy service there is. And Matty, it's a pleasure to see you.
Yeah.
And
Saw you last night.
We
fact,
did.
right?
Yep. We had our good friend Sammy P with some good pizza, some good wings,
Yeah,
some
it was
good
awesome.
time. It was a fun time. Gave away a free entry and service to the new Westgate College football contest, which I'll say I was pretty disappointed that Sammy P, or actually it was Tony.
Tony
it was
did
Tony.
the picking.
Tony was picking it out of the box yesterday, and disappointed my number.
Yeah, a lot of
I
disappointed
was really
folks.
hoping my number would get called for that, Matty. But we're getting down to the nitty gritty here. Only a few weeks to go, and
I
of
know,
course,
it's crazy.
summer
I feel like the
flies.
Season, season's starting earlier. I feel like than it has in the past. But yeah, I mean, we've only got 2 weeks left to sign up for that college contest over at the Westgate, which is crazy. They had about 350 entries so far. I know they want to probably like double or triple that in the next couple weeks, but we'll see what happens. I think if they can get to 1,000, that would be pretty good in year one. They gotta pile them up here the next couple weeks.
It's such a great point for anybody who has done these contests before. And like Golden Nugget was a mixture, right? But
Yep.
they always waited for week 1 of NFL.
Exactly.
But they're
so
not
this
doing
one
that.
starts early. Yeah. So the game's on, I think, August 30th, that first Saturday. I'm sure there's a Friday game too, but yeah, the deadline is August 29th to sign up. So 2 weeks from tomorrow. And so if you want to get to Vegas to sign up for this contest, you got to get out there, visit us at footballcontest.com, and we'll get you set up.
You said over 300 entries so far?
Yeah.
So
So that's their top contest, believe it or not. They have like about 100 more entries in the college than they do in the regular super contest, which is amazing. I mean, we told John, like, we tried to talk
You've only
him into
told
it the
them
last
for a
couple
decade,
years.
right?
Yeah, well, yeah, we pushed hard for it the last couple years, especially because we saw that the super contest entries were kind of going down a little bit. And, they have the college contest and then the survivor contest, the $5,000 survivor contest, which I think has about 30 entries. So it's not a lot, but it's kind of like the equivalent of the gold, which is the $5,000 pick'em contest. And if they get 100, 200 entries in that, that'd be a nice pot too. So we'll see what happens.
It's interesting because I'm super intrigued to see, Matty, how the college contest goes. Obviously,
Me too.
the William Hill contest was there until a few years ago. The Nugget contest was a hybrid more so than anything. But it just to see either Westgate or Circa, you knew one of them was going to hop in with a college contest at some point. And credit to John Murray and company over at the Westgate for doing it because, as you just said, I mean, more than the traditional NFL contest. And that is,
it's the most popular.
I know it's a cheaper price point, but still, that's a lot to write home about.
It is. And the super contest did raise the entry fee up to $1,500. So even if they get less people, like I think last year there was 1,100 entries in there, but if they get less people, it's an extra $500. So the prize pool is still going to be much higher than it was last year. And that was kind of John's goal to do that. But yeah, the college contest, all the contests over there, I think except for the gold, you can sign up to 10 entries. So there haven't been a lot of people that have done the max. But we do have one guy that did the max on the college entries, and Paul Stone's in there. I know, so I signed him up. I'm not gonna reveal his name or anything, but He's in there. And yeah, I talked to Tim Murray last night over at Naked City, and we were just talking about, I think that the big thing that's going to get them over the top probably is if somebody like Paul Stone or Alex, somebody can win it that can give it some good pub, because that's kind of what it needs is somebody who can kind of talk about it more, and then they can go after you the following year. You know what I mean? And but we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be exciting to see. It's 14-week contest starting in that week 1 of the college season, and 7 picks a week. So if you want to get in it, $500 entry fee. Do 10 if you want. And yeah, it should be fun.
I think it'll be a lot of fun because there are a lot of people in the sports betting media space that are all in it, right? And Matt, you mentioned, you said you were talking to Tim Murray. I know they're huge college guys too. So it'll be all of us kind of, hopefully racing at the top there. But yeah, so it should be a lot of fun. Tell us about Circa. Any updates with?
Yeah, I mean, they're rolling along. I mean, they're ahead of last year's pace, of course, and the Survivor, which everyone is the most popular contest in the world for football as far as football contests go. I mean, they're trying to hit 20,000 entries. So I think they've got close to 6,000 right now, and we've still got 3 weeks left. So you can kind of expect things to like triple the last few weeks. So if you look at that from that perspective, like 18, somewhere between 18, 20,000, maybe more. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see kind of what happens there as well. But yeah, that guarantee goes up, of course, with all the more entries, the better.
Matty, as we get down the stretch here, for someone who may be coming into town for the first time and needs a proxy and wants to get in all these contests,
yep.
Best way to get in contact with you guys and just the process for someone who may be new to this.
Yeah, I mean, just the website. If you go to footballcontest.com, click the simple sign up button. That's a contact form to set up an appointment with us. You can also prepay your proxy fee so you can keep your cash in your pocket when you get here and spend it on other things. That's another thing that's good. But yeah, and then we just need to schedule a time to meet up with you at the sports book, either the Westgate or Circa, get you all squared away, fill out some paperwork, and then you'll be able to get a username and password for our website, set you up with that, and that's where you'll make your picks throughout the season. And it's pretty easy from our perspective. I mean, we just try to make it as easy as possible. And then, as we all say, the hardest part is picking the winners or the losers in terms of the booby prize.
That booby prize is
the booby prize
still
at Circa.
there.
Right. So you're in the running for that too, I guess. But yeah, that's the one thing that you got to be able to pick the winners, and we'll try to make everything else as easy as possible.
You and Tony do a great job and stay super busy. And I know you also have your fantasy football beat Vegas.
Yeah, we've
Maddie.
got our big draft. You're a part of it again this year, the defending regular season champion. So we'll see what happens with the draft order. I'm trying to think, where did I pick? I think I picked 10th in that one. So we'll see. 12 teams, but a lot of returnees. And I'm actually being a draft down at Circa. They're doing a lot of live drafts through Full-Time Fantasy, hosting at Stadium Swim and some other locations throughout the casino. So if you go to beatvegasmatty.com, you can see all the drafts that are taking place. I'm doing one today at 2:00, and yeah, it's going to be crazy. It's that time of year. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully another fun season.
So Matty, just for everyone, one last time, the deadlines for all these contests, if you can just roll through.
Yeah, so the college contest is Friday, August 29th. And then everything else is going to be Saturday, September 6th, I believe. So I think it's 2 p.m. for Circa and 3 p.m. for the Westgate. So if you want to get in those, we will have people at both locations signing people up. And booth 14, we're set up at Circa. Prime location, couldn't be happier about that. So it'll be really easy to find. If you go in on the left-hand side, down the escalator, we're right to the right at the bottom of the escalator. So come see me or Tony, and we've also got some other people helping us out as well. So we'll get you covered and get you into these contests.
You ready? It's going to be a busy season.
Yeah, not quite ready. I wish we had another month of vacation time, but it's I'm ready to roll, and we'll get through this fun season.
Footballcontest.com. Make sure you use the promo code Alex, by the way, as well, to help you out a little bit on the site. Make sure you check them out if you need a proxy. We're going to go right into Chris Andrews too there. But if you need a proxy, and look, even if you live in Nevada too, like You never know. Like,
yeah,
you
we
could
got
be
a few locals that
you go out of town
like
for
the
a wedding on a
reminders.
weekend.
Yeah,
Like,
keep on. Make sure that the schedule, that we're reaching out to you, and if you're missing picks or you think you might miss a pick, we'll follow up with you. So we've got a giant spreadsheet, and we'll make sure every name's crossed off and reach out to you if we don't have your picks. So local or not, we're ready for it.
You think it'll never happen to you, but when you have to do it with the apps, it happens to everybody at least once.
You never know. Like, the app could crash at the wrong time, and you could end up.
We've seen it happen, especially like leading up to the sign up deadline. And there's some stories that you definitely want to have a proxy to help you out and not have to rely on the app, because everything gets pretty overloaded at that last second. So you want to have somebody to help you out, and we're here for you.
Awesome. There we go. Footballcontest.com, Vegas Maddie. Get your proxy service today for all the major contests. Again, you only got 2 weeks for the college football contest, and only an extra week for all the NFL contests across town. Circa Million, the Grandissimo as well.
Yep.
If you're a true high roller,
that's got I think 16 entries. They're already over the.
They've already hit the quota on.
I should say 15 limit, but they needed 15 to break even on the 1.5 million prize. So they're trying to get to I think 30 or so, which they could do, because I know we've got a few people coming in.
If they get to 30, more power to Derek and company as always over there.
Working his magic.
Absolutely. And of course, all the college super contest, and of course the traditional NFL super contest, and the new 5K survivor over at the Westgate Superbook as well. Maddie, it's a pleasure as always. Thank you for hanging with us here this morning. We're going to take one last break, and we get back, trivia question and answer, and Alex's play of the day when we get back. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
This is speed. This is winning. This is losing. This is NASCAR in Las Vegas, the South Point 400, a NASCAR playoff race, October 10th through 12th. Get your tickets now.
Football contest sign-up season is here, and you don't want to miss out on the action. With millions of dollars on the line each and every week in the world's biggest football contest, there's only one proxy to trust: footballcontest.com. Maddie and Tony have set the gold standard for football contest proxy services with 20 years of experience and over 13 million in winnings for their clients. All you have to do is get to Vegas between now and the start of football season to sign up in person, and they do the rest, making sure your picks are entered every week. Whether you want to play in the Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, Super Contest Gold, or the new Super Contest College Contest, Maddie and Tony have you covered. Their new website has everything you need to know about these football contests and more, including how you can reserve the best proxy in the business. Experience matters, so go with the pros at footballcontest.com, the gold standard proxy service.
Sports by the Book.
Sports by the Book.
Sports by the Book. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
We don't make stuff up here.
I would only play the Pirates team total going under.
What the hell happened to Minnesota's pitching?
This total has really crashed without plumbing the lineup.
I think this number's too high, but they're laying me the 6.
Oh, I know.
Caitlin Clark drives handle on the WNBA.
Never mind all these Mickey Mouse other stations. We are giving you hands-on information.
Welcome back in. The last few moments for us here on a Thursday on Sports by the Book. I'm Jeff Parles. She's Alex White. There was a poll today, and Vince asked the crew and collection of all you watching at home, what was your favorite marquee matchup for week 1 of college football with the flair of Vegas, Manny, and Ed Fang joining us here today. And 80% go with number 1 versus number 3 in Ohio State hosting Texas, which is not much of a shock, even though I will say I'm a lot more interested in Miami and Notre Dame, because I feel like we're going to learn a lot more about those two teams than we're going to learn about Ohio State and Texas in the horseshoe to kick off the season.
I think that's fair. We will, with both of those teams, kind of set them up for their seasons, right?
Carson Beck in Miami, new Hurricane, and of course, we're going to figure out who's playing quarterback in South Bend as well. By the way, Notre Dame opens with at Miami and Texas A&M back-to-back. How about that for that duo? But you go 1-1, and you might as well get your tickets ready for Notre Dame making the college football playoff for the second consecutive year.
The rest of the season, rest of the schedule gets
It gets softer again. You have to play USC, you have to play Boise, you do have to go to Fayetteville, even though I think Arkansas is a tomato can, as Brett McMurphy said a few times yesterday. But those first two games are very difficult against two legitimate top 20 teams, maybe even top 15 if Marcel Reese is good enough in College Station. Yep. All right, here's a trivia question. Oh, my goodness. They even had cars in 1909, Vince? On this date in 1909, the first motorized sporting event was held at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What was the event, and what was the very first competitive event to be held at the historic track prior to motorized racing? Wow, we're going way back in the time machine here. The answer, the Brickyard played host to a 5-mile motorcycle race. 5-mile motorcycle race. Prior to that date, you'll enjoy this, Alex. On June 5th of that year, it was a hot air balloon race. Hell yeah. Take that, New Mexico. We had them in Indiana in 1909. Right. So there you go on that. The first automobile race was just a few days after the motorcycle race on August 19th. So just 5 days after in 1909. For the first automobile race at the Brickyard. I love that. Here we go. Hot air balloons in Indiana. That's what I'm talking about in 1909. JR got it done here today. By the way, that's a 1-game or 2-game lead for JR now, Vince. That is a 2-game lead, we believe, for JR over Nick here midway here through the month of August. Hot air balloon racing in Indiana. That's what I'm talking about, Alex White, here on a Thursday. All right, yeah.
We are really halfway.
Halfway? No, we are genuinely right. Not literally, genuinely, whatever way you do, halfway point for at least, because we don't work on Saturday and Sunday here on the show. All right, Alex, whiteboard time here on a Thursday. I lied to you guys going to break. It will actually be 2 plays for Alex White, not 1, 2 here for Alex here on a Thursday.
I mean, I try and be as sharp as I can and not take overs that, are trying to get you like this, but I do really like this over. So 1 under, 1 over. We're going with Scooble bouncing back here against the Twins. Bailey Ober on the other side, and the Tigers aren't really hitting, so we're going under that 7.5. Diamondbacks and Rockies, we are going over 12.5 in Coors Field. So let's get a lot of runs. And when I said like PCL, I mean, I'm talking 10-7 here. That's what I'm hoping for.
13-7, 12-9. All's good in the end, right?
Yeah.
Now, 13-9, you wouldn't even have to sweat it if Colorado decides to do nothing here today. All right, that's what we got here for you on Sports by the Book. Tomorrow on the program, Chris Andrews will join us. He's if you're down at Bet Bash watching us, go watch Chris and Vinny and Richie Bachelari and the whole crew right now over, I don't know which ballroom it is, but the Legend's going here momentarily at Bet Bash, so be on the lookout for that. And Alex and I will be down there later today, so say hello if you happen to be watching us over at Bet Bash here today. She's Alex White. I'm Jeff Parles. We'll see you again tomorrow. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.